Did you know that there's a special visa just for Canadian and Mexican professionals? It's called the TN visa, and it might be the right choice for you. I'm Simon Craven, Managing Attorney for Immigration at Manifest Law, and today I'm going to talk to you about the TN visa. The TN visa is a special visa just for citizens of Canada and Mexico. It allows people who have a job offer in the US to apply for a visa, and they can stay here for up to 3 years at a time with no total limits. It's a great opportunity for people who want to come here in North America and allows many different kinds of occupation. Let's start with some background. The TN visa was originally created under NAFTA, which has since been replaced, but the TN visa program still works. So, how do you qualify for the TN visa? First, you have to be a citizen of either Canada or Mexico. Second, you also have to be coming to the US to work in the right kind of job. This means that you have a job offer from an employer, but it's not just any job that will qualify. See, the government publishes a list of all the specific occupations that qualify for a TN visa. Your job has to fit into one of these occupations in order to get the visa. And additionally, you also need to have the right qualifications. The list of jobs from the US government also includes the corresponding qualifications that you need to have. This can be something like a bachelor's degree or maybe a license to practice your profession. If you have the right citizenship, Canadian or Mexican, and the right job offer from one of the occupations on the list, and you also qualify with the required documentation, you could be eligible for a TN visa. Let's take a look at some examples of qualifying jobs for a TN visa. For example, if you're an accountant, you can qualify if you have a bachelor's degree and or a CPA license. On the other hand, if you're applying as a management consultant, you could qualify just based on your experience if it's the right amount of experience in your field. One thing to keep in mind is when they talk about a degree requirement for a TN visa, the degree normally has to be related to your work. So if you have a degree in science, you should have a science-related job. Okay, so let's go over the requirements. You're from Canada or Mexico, you have a job offer in the right occupation, and you meet the right qualifications. So how do you go about applying for the TN visa? Well, the process is different whether you're from Canada or Mexico. For Canadians applying for a TN visa, the process is actually very simple. You can apply for the visa directly at the port of entry. What this means is, if you're flying in, you can apply for the TN visa at the airport. If you're driving into the US, you would apply at the land border crossing. In either situation, you present all of your paperwork, which includes the offer letter from your employer, your passport, and any other supporting documentation like your educational credential. Mexicans applying for a TN visa will have to go through a slightly different process. They will need to actually make an appointment at the consulate in order to get a visa stamp in their passport. The first step is filing an application online, and then you schedule your interview with the local consulate. The time to get an interview can vary depending on where you are. Once you attend your interview, you'll present the same documents: your passport, your job offer, your educational credentials. The officer might ask you a few questions. Usually it should just be about your job and what you plan on doing in the US. If the TN visa is approved, they'll take your passport, put the TN visa stamp in there, and once you get your passport back, you're ready to come to the United States. Mexicans and Canadians who are already here in the US on another visa can also apply to change their status to TN visa while inside the US. Now that we've gone over the process for both Canadians and Mexicans, there's a few key points to keep in mind about the TN visa. First is, whether you're applying at the border or at the consulate, the officers are going to want to see original documents. That means in addition to your passport, you should have an original offer letter if possible, as well as your original documents. That includes your diploma or any other certificates or licenses that you need for your job. The other thing is, you can be in the US in TN status for up to 3 years at a time. And there's no total limit, so you can keep renewing your TN visa indefinitely. As you can see, there are lots of great benefits to the TN visa. There's no maximum total duration, you can apply for any number of kinds of jobs, and there's no limit or cap like the H-1B visa, so anybody can apply at any time. The TN visa is a great option for Mexicans and Canadians looking to work in the US. And reach out to Manifest Law today and we'll get started on your TN visa case.